Coming up next on KPBS Evening Edition, a San Diego City Council member says public employee pensions are too rich.
Now voters get to decide whether they agree with them. We put Council member Carl DeMaio on the record.
And will the arrest of a key lieutenant in one of Mexico's most violent drug cartels curb border violence? We'll have the analysis.
KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Joanne Farian.
And I'm Dwayne Brown. There was budget unrest at college campuses across the state today. Students, faculty, and staff protested funding cuts to higher education. They rallied at UC and CSU campuses across California. KPBS education reporter Kyla Calvert joins us from the News Center. Kyla, what are the protesters demanding, and what happened here in San Diego today?
There have actually been two sets of protests going on. One has been organized by a group called Refund California, and they're calling on the state to reinstate the $650 million cut from each of the public university systems this year by increasing taxes on corporations and wealthy Californians. And then the CSU faculty have also been protesting the last 2 days. At Cal State San Marcos and at San Diego State, they were picketing today, and they were calling on Cal State administrators to honor salary increases that they were supposed to get each of the last 2 years under their current contract, and also to support negotiations that are happening right now for their next contract, which includes things like class sizes and teaching online courses.
And this was a bit of a precursor to a bigger event expected next week, right?
That's right. The faculty will be striking at the system's Dominguez Hills and East Bay campuses next week, and faculty from all over the state will be going to those campuses to support that strike, and that's next Thursday. But it's not expected to disrupt any classes locally. Also next week, the Cal State Board of Trustees will be meeting, and people are expected to come from all over the state to protest at that meeting because they're scheduled to vote on a 9% tuition increase that would go into effect if the state makes mid-year cuts to the system. And that would be after the trustees raised tuition by 23% for this fall.
KPBS education reporter Kyla Calvert.
The San Diego Unified School District Board wants to make it easier to pass a parcel tax. It's adopted a resolution to amend the state constitution, allowing public education offices to pass a parcel tax with 55% of the vote. That's instead of 2/3 of the vote. Last November, a parcel tax measure on San Diego's ballot failed because it did not receive the required vote. San Diego Unified is facing a possible deficit of $118 million next year.
Security officers for the Metropolitan Transit System have voted to strike tomorrow. They're contracted through a private company called Heritage Security, but they say it isn't negotiating in good faith. Heritage Security denies the claims. Union leaders say the officers could walk off the job anytime tomorrow. The same day, football fans are expected to use MTS to get to Qualcomm to watch the Chargers play the Oakland Raiders. By the way, MTS says service will not be disrupted if there is a strike.
San Diego County may be turning the tide on childhood obesity. KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg is here to tell us about a new report on obesity rates. Now, Kenny, this report looked at obesity rates across the state and then county by county. So what did we learn?
Well, we saw in San Diego County, it had the biggest drop in obesity rates in all of Southern California. The rate fell about 3.7% between 2005 and 2010.
What about the rest of the state? Did they also have a drop?
Statewide, it fell about 1.1%, but as I mentioned, there's wide variation throughout the state. Southern California saw the biggest drops in childhood obesity, but other parts of the state saw some increases, some were flat. So it was really pretty varied.
So it looks like some improvement, but overall we still have an obesity problem here in this county. What are the numbers overall?
We really do have an obesity problem here and throughout this state. Still about 1 out of 3 kids in San Diego County are overweight or obese. So while the rate went down between 2005 and 2010, the overall rate remains very high.
KPBS reporter Kenny Goldberg.
Another new report says childhood obesity is a threat to national security. So today, the San Diego Unified School District sent in the Marines. They led students in exercising at Sandberg Elementary in Mira Mesa. It was part of a program to release the report called Unfit to Fight. It says 25% of young adults are too overweight to serve in the military. The nonprofit group Mission Readiness wants schools to do more to encourage physical activity. Researchers at UCSD may have found a cellular basis for autism after examining the brains of about a dozen teenage boys. Those with autism had 67% more cells in the front part of the brain. That's also where our social development, communication, and effective reasoning are controlled. Those cells are created in the second trimester of pregnancy. Researchers say this preliminary finding may eventually lead to the root cause of autism. It affects 1 out of every 110 children. At San Diego, voters will get their chance to weigh in on the future of the city's pension plan. Joanne has more with her guests over at the Evening Edition Roundtable.
San Diego Mayor Jerry Sanders called it the most critical ballot initiative to the city's future in 40 years. It would replace guaranteed pensions for new city employees with 401k accounts. Police officers would not be covered by that plan. In a moment, we'll talk with the city council member who led the campaign to put the measure on next June's ballot. But first, here's a look at the initiative. The biggest change is for new employees and the switch to 401ks. It also bases pensions only on base salaries, not bonuses or other special pay. The measure would require employees to contribute to the plans, and the biggest savings, according to some analysts, would be realized by freezing pensionable earnings for 5 years. So employees could still get raises, but they wouldn't be counted toward their pensions. Joining me now is Councilman Carl DeMaio. Thank you, Councilman DeMaio, for being here. So let's start off by talking about money and savings. According to your analysis, how much money does this initiative save if people vote for it?
Well, on the low end, $2 billion over the next 25 years, hundreds of millions of dollars in the short term. The immediate savings will allow us not only to stabilize city finances, but also protect neighborhood services like library hours, police coverage, and road repairs.
Didn't some of the analysis say, though, that up front it could cost money, potentially $100 million by switching over to a 401k?
Well, the labor unions are trying to, in essence, cook the books in the arguments, saying, oh, it's going to cost more money. No, this saves money every single element.
They were pension experts, though, not labor unions, who said it would cost $94 million. I think they were the pension people, not the labor people.
No, actually, the labor unions are misinterpreting the actuarial numbers that were presented. This measure saves in every single reform that we put in the measure. The criteria was it has to be legal and it has to save money. And the compound savings is just extraordinary. The labor unions, I think, during this campaign are going to make all sorts of claims. Remember, during the ballot signing process, they made the absurd claims that if you signed it, if you signed the ballot measure, your identity would be stolen and sold to India. We all heard those radio ads. They were false. The claims made by the labor unions against this measure are also false.
I want to talk a little bit more about the money. The bulk of the savings, doesn't that come from current plans by having a freeze on pensionable earnings in terms of what the city will calculate an employee's pension on? That will be frozen.
There are really 3 areas of savings. The cap, the freeze on existing employee pensions saves hundreds of millions of dollars in the first 10 years. Second, the increased contributions city employees will have to pay for their pensions saves tens of millions of dollars each year. And third, switching to a 401k, switching the investment risk to the city employee rather than having the taxpayer bear that risk, that will save an unknown amount of money on a go-forward basis, because we've seen actuarial losses over and over again where rosy scenarios are used. The taxpayer has to come and bail out the pension system. This protects taxpayers on investment losses as well.
The bulk of the savings, it's projected to come from that cap, at least initially. Isn't that the portion of the initiative that really will be subject to legal challenges? Isn't that the portion that, I mean, you don't know if you can actually follow through with that?
Actually, we know we can follow through on it. You can't ever prevent the labor unions from filing a baseless lawsuit. But we actually built this ballot measure around the leading legal minds in the state of California, using existing case law. I laid out this ballot measure a year ago, and at the time people were astonished because no one thought of the innovation of capping pensionable pay as a way of reforming vested pension benefits. And yet, for the past year, the labor unions have said, oh, we're going to challenge it legally, but they haven't really been able to get anyone to agree with them that they have a legal case to stand on.
So you're running for mayor. This is going to be a big issue. So we just want to read a comment from another mayoral candidate, actually Congressman Bob Filner, who has come out and opposed this measure, one of the few running for mayor who has. I want to read to our audience what he said about this. He says, on the one hand, it puts city workers at the mercy of an extremely volatile stock market without the safety net of Social Security. Remember, city workers are not part of the Social Security system. This initiative just throws them under the bus. And he says, on the other hand, it is financially irresponsible. The plan for new hires requires almost $100 million from the general fund budget over the next 10 years and thus worsens the unfunded liability problem. And that's from Bob Filner, who also will be running for mayor. And we want to get one more comment, and this one is from the labor unions, the group representing the unions. Here's what Lorena Gonzalez of the Labor Council said in reaction to the measure. She said, this effort to deflect attention away from the real cause of our economic woes is shameful. Reform happens at the bargaining table. Retirement security obliteration apparently happens through a bot initiative. And that, again, is Lorena Gonzalez. Do you think this initiative, come the campaign that we're about to enter into campaign season, is really going to pit public versus private, labor, unions versus, those in business? Is that really... Oh,
no. It's actually unions versus the taxpayer. When you saw those two quotes, you saw a mayoral candidate standing up for city workers over taxpayers. And you obviously saw the labor union head for San Diego County standing up for unions being able to make the decision at the bargaining table, not allowing voters to make the decision at the ballot box. That's what's wrong at City Hall, is that it no longer serves the interests of taxpayers, it serves the interests of the labor unions. Whatever the unions say, that's what we got to do. That's how we got into this problem. And our ballot measure is the first of, I think, a series of reforms to city government to really refocus city priorities and spending of taxpayer money on our neighborhood priorities. We do not exist to please the labor unions. We exist to serve taxpayers. And as mayor, that is exactly my philosophy, and that's what we will achieve in our city government.
We don't have a lot of time, but I just want to mention this before we go. The governor introduced a pension reform measure, also involves 401ks. Do you think that will help your initiative?
I think what the governor has done is he has legitimized, at least for his side of the aisle, the need to reform pensions because they're not sustainable. Obviously, Lorena Gonzalez and Mr. Filner disagree with their own governor because they don't think anything's wrong with government pensions that are backed by taxpayer money. I think that city employees ought to be treated no better and no worse than the taxpayers that are footing the bill. And that's what our ballot measure achieves.
Councilmember Carl DeMaio, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much.
Mexican police say they've arrested several major drug cartel figures over the past few months. Will it mean less violence in Tijuana? We'll look at that in just a moment. And the unemployment rate for some young veterans is nearly double compared to other Californians. What the VA is trying to do about it. Coming up in a moment on KPBS Evening Edition.
Tonight on KPBS. Harpy eagles are barely ever seen, let alone filmed. Nature captures these South American raptors on film in their natural habitat. Jungle eagles at 8. Then at 9, we're off to the frontiers of physics to piece together the most complete picture yet of space, time, and the universe. On Nova, Fabric of the Cosmos. And at 10, the surreal world of string theory springs to life on the screen on Nova, Elegant Universe. That's tonight on KPBS.
The American people
have named PBS the most trusted source of news
and public affairs
for the 8th year
in a row.
Trust.
The American people have spoken.
Thank you.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next News Hour, a wrap-up of election results, plus school choices for parents and students in Anderson, Indiana. That's Wednesday on the PBS News Hour.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Irwin Jacobs and by
There's been a major arrest in Mexico. The man who orchestrated much of the violence of the Arellano Felix drug cartel is in custody. What does this mean for a rival drug cartel, and could it lead to less violence in Baja California? Joining me is Nathan Jones. He's an instructor at University of San Diego and has researched cartels in Tijuana extensively. Nathan, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about this man who was arrested.
Well, Juan Francisco C.S. Rocha was an important enforcer lieutenant for the Arellano Felix organization. In the internecine conflict between the Arellano Felix organization and a rival break-off lieutenant, El Teo, Teodoro Garcia Cimental, in 2008, he was the chief enforcer fighting El Teo. So in some ways, he's a very violent guy, very hot-headed, big-tempered guy, but he's the guy that you love to have on your side because he was fighting the El Teo faction. And the El Teo faction was known for kidnapping, widespread kidnapping of the Tijuana population, and was very unpopular, very disliked in that region. So El Cias was, or El Ruedas, was affiliated with with El Ingeniero, the head of the cartel Arellano Felix, or also known as the Arellano Felix organization, and thus he's kind of the guy you love to hate. He was a tough guy, but he was your tough guy. And
when you read the analysis in terms of what this arrest means, some people are saying, well, this really does do a lot in terms of that one particular drug cartel, the Arellano Felix cartel, because you've taken this guy out of the mix. Really, is it? I mean, is it that big a deal, this arrest, that we can really see a big curb in violence?
I think it's important. Violence in Tijuana has already been on a downward trend. That's the interesting thing. Somehow, the Arellano Felix organization and the Sinaloa cartel, which is widely believed to be supplanting it in the region, have come to some kind of a truce. Nobody really knows the full nature of that truce. The general scenario people discuss is that the Sinaloa cartel, for the sake of business, pays a quota, a tax, to the Arellano Felix organization. The removal of this one individual, while important to the control of the Arellano Felix, the ability of the Arellano Felix organization to control the area, I don't think is as big a deal as people are making it out to be. The Arellano Felix organization has proven resilient. People have been telling me that it's about to fall since 2002. So I'm always a little skeptical when people tell me that this is going to change everything. But it does weaken the Arellano Felix organization vis-a-vis the Sinaloa cartel. And the fear that there might be a spike in violence is around the scenario that they would go to war with each other.
Oh, so because, again, in the analysis that we've been reading all throughout the week is that this may help the Sinaloa cartel. They sort of come to power. Violence really is between the two cartels, so if one comes to power, you can eliminate at least some of the violence.
Yes. Well,
not necessarily the case, though.
Well, I worry about short-term and long-term. Long-term, if one cartel is in charge, then yes, you have a monopoly on violence, on the use of coercion, and so you don't have cartel infighting. What I worry about is that short-term time where the last gasp of the Arellano Felix organization could be very violent. I think, based on what I've seen since 2010, and my analysis is that they're probably going to try to find a way to work this out peacefully. Remember, the Sinaloa cartel is also fighting in Ciudad Juarez. They don't want to open up, and they're also fighting the Zetas throughout the country. So they may not want to open up a new front. They've got plenty of enemies already. So it's possible that it does weaken the Arellano Felix organization, but we are going to be watching in the next couple of weeks to see if it really does.
Well, Nathan Jones, we'll have to have you back. We'll keep following this story. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
If you think the job market is tough, imagine being a recent military veteran looking for work. You face stiffer competition from civilians with more job experience and often more education. The situation has many folks trying to extend their military service until the economy improves. This is the story of an Army reservist who spent 7 months in search of his dream job.
It takes about 15 to 20 different positions I applied for finally one to stick.
This 44-year-old San Diego native knows full well the up and downs of the job market. He was once a manager in the restaurant industry where jobs were easy to come by until his layoff in 2008.
I couldn't get a server job. And then luckily I had an education and a college degree, so I was able to get a position with the Employment Development Department, which helped refine my skills for a position with the VA.
This week, Danielson begins a new journey. He's in training to assist medically disabled vets on how to manage their health care and take full advantage of what the VA has to offer.
A lot of friends that I served with that are still looking for work, and I let them know it takes about 6 months or more to actually get a job, any job, not just the VA.
Danielson says while California's unemployment rate is nearly 12%, it's more than double for vets between the age of 24 and 30. That's why the Veterans Administration says it's important they learn how to translate their military experience into civilian life.
For many of them, it will require them to re-educate themselves, to take what they've learned about teamwork, about discipline, about applying the values that they've lived in the service, and then learning a new skill, whether that's a trade or going to a 2-year college or a 4-year college.
The Deputy Secretary says, fortunately, we have the GI Bill to help pay for college to any private or 4-year institution. The White House is also seeking support from Congress to offer tax credits to businesses who hire veterans. Now, tomorrow on Evening Edition, we'll show you how a San Diego program called Reboot is helping vets transition back into civilian life.
In the past 5 years, the U.S. has resettled more than 60,000 Iraqi refugees. Many of them land here in San Diego. It is, as you can imagine, a challenging transition, life in a war-torn country to life in San Diego. Imagine moving 7,000 miles and not knowing the language. Here's a scene from an English as a second language class at Cuyamaca Community College in El Cajon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, today what we're going to do is we are going to create sentences in the simple present, right? Yes, that's what we've been doing all week.
Frontiers reporter Jill Replogle has been following the stories of several Iraqi refugees in a special KPBS series. She joins me now. Jill, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
How many Iraqi refugees live here in San Diego?
Well, since 2007, about 13,000 people have come, but there have been previous waves of refugees dating back from when Saddam was in power and also from the first Gulf War.
Now, we know from some recent statistics that California really is the #1 destination. We're just going to put some numbers up for the people at home right now. You looked at the numbers for the last 4 years. California, more than 14,000 Iraqi refugees, really about 1/4 of all states, 61,000. Why? Do we know why California, and do we know why San Diego?
Well, San Diego, especially because people do have relatives here because of those previous waves, and there's a longstanding Chaldean community in El Cajon. Chaldeans are Iraqi Christians, and so refugees or immigrants in general tend to come where they have family members, where they know people. So that's the big draw.
We saw a scene from an ESL class in El Cajon. Your stories looked at the services that refugees or immigrants require, particularly in El Cajon. What did you find?
Well, a lot of the school district, the community college district, and the hospitals, they're all sort of overwhelmed by the number of people who have come just in these recent years. And, at a time of shrinking budgets, they're just really struggling to have enough ESL classes for these people. The hospitals are, having trouble with interpreters, having enough interpreters on hand. And a lot of uninsured people because they only get government benefits for a certain amount of time. And then, a lot of them are sort of let loose on their own. And in this economy, it's really tough.
I read in one of your stories an amazing statistic in terms of the wait time for an ESL class.
Yeah, they have, I believe, a couple thousand students at Cuyamaca and at Grossmont Community College, but there are just tons of people that would love to get into those classes, and there just really aren't enough of them.
Now, tough economic times, you point out a need for services, but also a lot of people who need jobs when they come to this country. What's the job market like? If you're just landing here, language is an issue, what do you do?
Well, what I found that really struck me is that a lot of the Iraqi refugees who are coming are professionals. They're engineers, they're doctors, they're highly educated people, and they speak English, and they still have a really tough time getting jobs. And, part of that is just it's a bad economy. Part of it is just learning how to network in this country, how to find people who are offering jobs. And then the other thing is, you might be stuck in El Cajon without a car, and in San Diego, it's really tough to even just get to an interview without a car. So, these are things that people are facing.
We know that just recently President Obama announced the end of the war, at least the U.S.'s role in terms of Iraq, and troops are coming home at the end of the year. Violence seems at least to be dying down slightly. Why do refugees continue to come to San Diego or the United States?
Yeah, well, for one thing, there are a lot of refugees who are in countries like Syria and Jordan. Over 1 million people, Iraqis, in Syria, and they can't go back. You know, a lot of them are religious minorities. They're groups that are still persecuted. They can't go back. And so a lot of those people are waiting to be resettled here. And there are still people in Iraq. I mean, it's still not a safe place to be for many people.
Jill, where can people see more of this reporting?
On our website, fronterasdesk.org, and you can also go to the KPBS website. That's
Great.
kpbs.org.
Jill Rapogo, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
A recap of tonight's top stories in just a moment. This is KPBS Evening Edition.
Looking for something fresh?
How fresh?
How about a new sleuth for the 21st century?
The name's Sherlock Holmes.
And Dr. Watson.
You get off on this, you enjoy it. What is it like in your funny little brains? It must be so boring.
Sherlock.
Sunday at 9 on KPBS.
Because of our members, it's possible for everyone around us to discover something new every day, right here on KPBS. And in doing so, our members make this a better and stronger community. Thanks for your support.
Tuesday at 10 on KPBS.
Welcome back to the Public Square on KPBS Evening Edition. Yesterday, we told you about an annoying little insect called an eye gnat. They're plaguing residents in Jacamba and Escondido. The gnats like nutrient-rich soil of nearby organic farms. Well, today, the County Board of Supervisors asked the County Farm Bureau for help to come up with some recommendations to try and address the problem. The Farm Bureau is expected to have those recommendations in about 3 months. Meanwhile, there's a healthy discussion on our website about these gnats. So if you want to join, go to kpbs.org, or you can follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, or you can email me directly at jfarian@kpbs.org. And now we're going to go back to Dwayne. He has a recap of tonight's top stories.
Students, faculty, and staff members rallied against budget cuts at college campuses across the state today. A one-day walkout is planned next week. Security guards for the Metropolitan Transit System are planning a walkout tomorrow. They say their private contract company isn't bargaining in good faith. You can watch and comment on any of the stories you saw tonight on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night. We leave you with a look at the forecast.